focus is on the fall during Wednesday's Seahawk Talk with special guests Rob McGinnis, Cara Reese, Jane Walsh, and Craig O'Rourke II. That's 3 to 4 p.m. See you then. Good afternoon and welcome to Seahawk Talk on Wednesday, May 20. I'm Ed Habishaw. We have our fall guests to fall back on. Today is a Wednesday and we do spring on Monday and Tuesday, fall on Wednesday and Thursday, winter on Friday. But looks like this Friday will be one of the hottest days of the year. I saw 76 degrees. I don't know where we're at right now, but we will show our guest list for this afternoon by popping this graphic up on the screen, and we'll eventually say hello to our first guest, our first fall guy, Rob McGinnis, men's and women's cross-country head coach. He'll be followed by Cara Reese, also known as Cara Dunn. When she was a student at Salve, Virginia, played 4 years of field hockey and women's lacrosse. She later on coached at two different institutions, both Vassar College and Wheaton College. Wheaton College, she met up with Lisa Yenish, former Salve, Virginia administrator and coach, and also Abby Tepper, who was a guest last week in the field hockey spot, was also an assistant coach with Cara Dunn at Wheaton during a few years there. Cara will be followed by women's soccer, Jane Walsh, and then we'll finish off our Wednesday segment with Craig O'Rourke II. So without further ado, let me actually showcase one of our honorees from Friday evening's Seahawk Award ceremony, because Coach McGinnis will appreciate the fact that while he did a great job introducing Olivia Owen with her award, the RIAIAW, Distinguished Student Athlete Award from the Rhode Island Association of Intercollegiate Athletics for Women, easy for me and Rob to say. Riley Rancourt, he kind of gave a preview to his appearance on the award show back in November when Andrew Pizzelli was at the Commonwealth Coast Conference cross-country meet. Here you have it.
For 4 years, and so I can make it into the end of year Salve Seahawks video mashup. That's my only goal, my only aspiration.
We're set up.
Thank you.
Riley appeared in 23 races for Salve, Virginia during his 4 years on the team.
So Rob, there we have Riley Rancourt approaching the camera that Andrew was holding and saying, I want to be on the mashup at the end of the year, the Seahawk Awards. And lo and behold, he earned that by not only virtue of his Senior Scholar Athlete Award within the Commonwealth Coast Conference for men's cross country, but overall at Salve Virginia University, he and Lexi Anderson had the highest grade point averages of our senior athletes.
Certainly did. He earned it. Riley is without a doubt one of our best and brightest, and we're very proud of him. First in the fall to have him honored as the Scholar Athlete for cross country, that's great for our team. We've only had a couple of those in the history of the men's program. Riley is a hardworking student. He's in a very demanding major, a double major, poli-sci and ADJ. Very, very bright guy. Get him talking about his research, and it's clear that he knows his stuff. And now to see him recognized as the male student athlete in our entire athletic department with the highest GPA, that's awesome. And a real credit to him. Riley is, without a doubt, a sharp guy. I'm sure he is going to be very, very successful in the future. So congratulations, Riley. You earned it, and you made the mashup.
Yeah, and similar to others that spoke through the awards ceremony on Friday evening, they all paid tribute to their fellow Seahawk seniors who, especially the spring sport athletes who lost out on their senior season. One of those was Olivia Owen, who lost out on her track and field season, but she had a fall cross country season, an outstanding fall cross country season, and she was the recipient, thanks to you, as your runner of the year in your program, but also for our athletic department, the RIAIAW award. And I really appreciated your ability to present that award through your venue last fall.
Yeah, Liv really earned that one, and I am so proud of her. I could not think of a more fitting nominee for the RIAIAW award. I like that one because it honors sort of the history of women's athletics at the college level. And for those of us who follow that sort of thing, it's kind of neat that that still exists and that there's still some recognition for sort of one of the predecessor organizations to the NCAA, even for women. So Liv, when you think about the criteria for that award, athletic accomplishment, absolutely. She's fourth on the all-time list in cross country at 6,000 meters and in very good company there. Fourth on the all-time list on the track at 10,000 meters, a former All-New England honoree on the track at 10,000 meters, all-conference in cross-country and track multiple times. She has been just the example of the level of effort and investment that it takes to be successful at this level. She wasn't a sure thing in terms of being the top runner on the team when she came in. She had a good high school career. She was recruited. But what she's done over the last 4 years has been a result of hard work. And she's the first one to show up for practice. She'll be the last one to leave because she usually runs the longest. And I've trained with her a lot of the way. And to watch her progress has just been so impressive. And so athletically, absolutely meets the criteria. From a leadership perspective, cross-country captain both last fall and the preceding season. She was a track and field captain for this spring for the short season that never really got off the ground, but absolutely a team leader in that respect and somebody who models what it takes to be successful. She's quiet. She's pretty reserved, not someone who is going to be out in front and being a vocal leader, but certainly someone who sets the tone by performance and by example. And when you think about perseverance, which is one of the categories for the RIAIAW award as well, to come back from a pretty serious injury last spring and wind up in the position that she was in this fall is a true credit to her. Liv has time and again created the results that she wants for herself. And when we were looking at the injury situation last spring, which was a severe concussion, as anyone who follows sports know, concussions are unpredictable. And you don't really know when someone is going to be cleared for action again. It could be weeks, it could be months, it could be years. And we didn't know if we were looking at a situation where was Liv going to be okay, not just in terms of athletics, but in terms of her ability to complete the nursing program. Yeah. And she defied all the odds and was back in action far sooner than anyone would have predicted. But that's where she wanted to be. And again, demonstrating that focus. She wanted to be back on the track as soon as it was medically reasonable to do so, and she was. And then all the training she did over the summer to come back and to be one of the best runners in the CCC. And she's amazing. Running, when she came in from high school, she was running 30 to 35 miles a week. She now runs about 55 to 60 miles a week. And we built that gradually. We built it the smart way. She does a lot of work on heart rate training. She's probably one of my best examples of someone who trains by heart rate. And that's what's allowed her to get up to the mileage she's at and not really get worn out or find herself feeling fatigued all the time. And she's gotten all the payback out of it. So I am so proud of Liv. And I think that's a fitting conclusion to her career. I've had two RIAIAW nominees or honorees during my time at Salve. Liv's the most recent one. Victoria Verone was my first, and Liv is certainly a worthy successor to Vic in terms of my program's progression. So,
Oh, absolutely. I was going to ask, is there, the acronym for the Rhode Island Association for Intercollegiate Athletics for Women isn't always easy to say when you try to rush through it. So the RIAIAW. Is that why your two honorees have duplicate initials, OO and VV?
Yes, that's it. That's a worthy trend there. So I'll have to watch out for the next person who's got duplicate initials. And actually, there might be one in the incoming class. So maybe 4 years from now, we're having this conversation again. That would be an interesting trend.
That would be. And I chuckled. You had mentioned that she lets her running do the talking for her. And I mean, the only people that get fatigued are the ones that watch her run. She doesn't get fatigued, but you had mentioned that she lets her running do the talking, and I chuckled during your run of the year presentation how she accepted the award, but she gave you the old nod. I ain't talking, Coach. I ain't talking. She did join us on SeahawkTalk though a couple of weeks ago during the track and field segment when Madison Stanley and Kate Simonello were the three captains for women's track and field. Liv was vocal.
Oh, sure. Oh, yeah. Liv will speak her mind when she's asked. She's one that will not intervene unless her opinion's welcome, and that's okay. As you saw in the video, she did not want to make remarks in front of the entire audience there at the awards presentation, and that's okay. I always give my honorees the option to do that. Sometimes Liv surprises us, though. When we had the skydiving adventure a couple of years ago, she was one of the late additions to that class, and I never expected Liv to want to jump out of an airplane, and then there she was coming in from 2 miles up. So sometimes she surprises us.
I can hear her screaming now.
Yeah.
So on to your double initials. Who could be among the incoming class of Seahawk cross country runners?
There's a couple of them actually in this class. So I'm looking at my group. I'm cheating. I have my roster on the screen.
No problem.
I've got 2 sets of double initials in the incoming women's class. I've got Maddie Mildrum, so MM, and I've got Nicole Nenninger, NN. I've got 2 chances at the RIAIAW award in 4 years or so.
All right. That's the qualification right there. It's
clearly
the double initial.
I stand correct. I have a third. I also have Sophie Strano. I have 3.
Awesome. You said,
so,
what is Sophie's last name?
Strano, Strano.
Oh my goodness. That is so similar to a softball class of 2023, a current freshman on our softball team, Sophia Straza.
Really? Oh, wow.
Not related, obviously.
Obviously not related, but some similarities nonetheless.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited about this class. And 13 freshmen coming in for the women's cross country team. And we have a couple of sophomores who are joining us as well for their first season of collegiate cross country. So the women's roster is going to stand at like 33 coming into preseason, whenever that is. And there are some recruits in this group that are going to be very interesting. I mentioned a couple of them. Nicole Nenninger, number 2 runner from Middletown High School here in Connecticut. So it made some of the recruiting meetings very easy. We got to just drive across the bridge and have a chat with Nicole. Maddie Mildrum is an outstanding runner. I can see both Nicole and Maddie playing a role in the top 7 almost immediately. Another one who figures into the top 7 fairly soon is Olivia Forbes. Can't say enough nice things about her. Great attitude, so bright. I think she's going to be a wonderful addition to the team. Who else? I mean, I don't want to shortchange anyone, so I'm being very careful here, but there are 13 of them.
Wow.
Who else? And they'll have to excuse if I'm still butchering the pronunciations of last names because I haven't necessarily learned them all yet. But Grace Kubat, another one who could very well be in the top 7. Liz McKenzie, also very capable. Mia Pasterok, another one who is right on the edge of what would be the top 7 right now. Lindsay Sorois, another one who can do that job. Right there, we've got a lineup just among the freshmen that could be very, very interesting to watch. And I'm only scratching the surface because I don't think I've got time to run through all 13 of them. But if they're listening, I want them to know that I am incredibly excited to work with them. This has the makings of a very good team, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they bring to our group.
And to get even more excited, the fact that after speaking with Pam Haru yesterday, Associate Dean of Admissions, we're looking at May 1 as your traditional deadline for committing to a school. So the door is still open for folks to come on in, with June 1 being the extension to that deadline.
And there's a few who are out there who maybe haven't made up their minds yet. We know where you'd like to be in the fall. Come on, join us in Newport. Royal Blue's your color.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for the update on today's Seahawk Talk, Rob. I still have a lot of stuff I want to go over with you. We'll have to save it for next Tuesday, the day after Memorial Day, and look forward to talking to you then.
All right, Ed. Thanks for having me today. Have a good rest of the show.
Thanks. Take care.
Thanks, Ed.
That's Rob McGinnis, Salve Virginia University men's and women's cross country head coach. I'm Ed Habishaw. We'll be right back with Cara Reese right after this break.
Now, you ever try to catch a bubble before? What usually happens? Right, I'm going to show you 3 ways I know to catch one. Now, everyone knows you can catch one on a stick, right? There's, yeah. There's another way, it's gross, but the best way of all, though, is you just find one that you like. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to reach right up and grab it like that. Well, that's how you catch a real bubble. I'm going to give it to you. Ready? I'm going to trick them all. Ready? 1, 2, 3. I tricked them all. What did I say? And you're going to get Kieran, would you like a balloon? Kieran begins with the letter W, right?
No, K.
Oh, sorry. Alright, Kieran. See the K I put on your turtle? Can you make an O like an OK? Perfect. All you have to do is sit this guy on the O like that, and then pull his tail, and he's going to do a flip right there.
That's Cara Reese, or done back then, and Kieran Habishaw when he was 4.5 years old. And our next guest has experience with a 4.5-year-old, a soon-to-be 5. Let's bring in our guest from somewhere in Massachusetts, I believe, or Rhode Island.
Now Cumberland, Rhode Island.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I went back over the border.
Welcome back to Rhode Island.
Thank you. I couldn't stay away.
Well, you've got a quiet household right now. What's the magic there?
Well, I think you might be jinxing
Oh, sorry.
this. So, right now, Power Rangers and some snacks. And we, my almost 5 and 3-year-old are in a tent that we pitched in our basement to make it feel like we're going to go somewhere. So they're hanging out downstairs for a little while.
That is so cool. So do you remember that flashback to 2005, your senior year, where you got to come back into the Rogers Recreation Center, and then our administrator at the time, Lisa Yenish, welcomed in her brother-in-law, Jed, to perform a magic trick. She later was your administrator at Wheaton College when you were a head coach there.
It was, yeah. So, yeah, Lisa and I got to work together for about six years or so while I was at Wheaton, which was funny coming back kind of full circle, see some familiar faces. So,
yeah. I saw the Wheaton Instagram today, and she is actually featured as some spotlight.
Mm-hmm. I didn't see it. I'll have to check it out. But it was cool for her to come back to Wheaton as an alum, and so now it was fun to reconnect coming from being a college athlete and then, years later, 7 or 8 years later, into professional coaching and then coming in to work with her as a colleague it's pretty cool to have that full circle. So yeah.
Well, full circle for you also means coming back Seahawk to Seahawk nights in February, March. You've been wonderful, along with several other alumni, coming back and mentoring our undergrads who are Seahawks looking to get into the professional world.
Yeah, that was a fun opportunity. And you know what? One of the reasons I went that I think was the first year was because there were so few people for me to talk to when I knew as a college student that I was interested in getting into coaching. And I know watching Abby Tepper's interview on SeahawkTalk as well, kind of having that same kind of knowledge that you want to get into coaching, and there's not a ton of people to really talk to. So a lot of education students, a lot of nurses, but it was a really cool opportunity to come back and be on campus, and the facilities there are just unbelievable. So it was fun.
Yeah, your playing days didn't involve the turf surface that they now play on. No. Talk about your experience. I think it even included some mudslidding from Coach Hillary London.
Sure did. Yeah, so we played, the Lawrence Street Field? My freshman year, we started on what's now, I think, the baseball field. And we shared that space with, I think, everybody.
Yep.
Right?
And, Reynolds Field.
Yeah, and then we moved over, and for field hockey and lacrosse, we were able to practice on our own fields. It was very uneven. I think they refinished part of it one year, and it wasn't all the way done, but, back then you use different muscle groups. There's a lot more legs in field hockey involved, but it's fun. It's we got to play every once in a while on turf. It's just such a different game now. It's so much faster.
It really is.
Yeah, so it was a little bit more. It was just a different. Just you're using your legs a lot more on those grass days. But I don't know if I could go and play a game on grass right now. I'll tell you that much. I think it would be almost impossible.
Cara, how often do you connect with your class of 2006 field hockey folks? Caitlin McGuire.
We I was thinking about that the other day because there were 13 of us when I came in as a first year, and by the time I graduated, for all different circumstances and reasons, 4 graduated, including myself. So. Katie and Pam and Brooke and I, we still are in touch, and social media is a wonderful thing, even though we're kind of at a distance. But we're all, we still connect, especially Brooke and Pam and I tend to chat a ton. So everyone's doing well.
And I know you've talked with Coach Jennifer Foster, who arrived the year after you graduated, and she's done a great job of putting together alumni games, and she's hoping to reach out to Seahawk athletes and even Newporter athletes that preceded your days in terms of having a fuller crowd return for the alumni games.
Yeah, that would be fun. We've become friends over the years, and which I didn't get the chance to play for her, but through coaching and kind of living in the same field hockey circle for so long. One of the things I've tried to help with is within my reach of the time I was at Salve, to help with different, alumni opportunities and getting back to games and stuff like that. So, been trying to generate some interest, and we are so upset. I think we had a pretty good group planning to come back this year, but hopefully we'll try again next year.
Well, you'll be a big part of that. Are some of your fellow classmates returning as well? Caitlin, Brooke, or Pam?
I hope so. I always try to talk Brooke to getting back into her goalie pads. I don't think she's a fan of that idea, but maybe she did before a couple of years ago. She did come back, but every few years it just is the right day, and everyone has the chance to travel back. And a few years ago we had a pretty big showing, and last year it was a bit of a rainy day, but it's fun to also meet some of the younger alum and get to know them and see what they're doing and how the program has evolved since we graduated, so long ago now. But it's a cool opportunity. It's one of, I always look forward to it. And a lot of the times I missed a good number of them because I was in, my spring season myself. But I've been able to make it to a few, and it's fun. I think Coach Foster does a really good job trying to do all of the outreach, and she's sending email updates on what's going on with the program now, to still help you feel connected, even though I don't have 15, 16 years later, so it's fun. It's nice to still feel kind of included within that family.
Yeah, once a Seahawk, always a Seahawk, we always say.
Yeah.
You were recognized with the University Sportsmanship Award as a senior, and your teammate Caitlin McGuire was a senior scholar athlete. Those are important recognitions. Talk about what that meant to you and how you've carried it forward, the sportsmanship part of it.
Well, I hear that has a different title, though.
Blah, 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 blah.
Am I right? I mean, that's named after you. I wish the Ed Habershaw Award. But, that was a pretty cool experience because there are so few awards and there's so many classmates, each year, and athletes each year that are up for those awards. So to be able to have your name on a plaque every time I go back, to campus, I think is a pretty cool. It helps with the memories. It's something I'm really proud of. But when I read back the description of that, I think it's pretty humbling. I think to get an award like that to garner enough respect as an athlete. Amongst so many. So I think that's something. I still have my award, my plaque, and it was always in my office. So it's something that I, hold pretty near and dear. And it's a great, marker of my time as a field hockey and lacrosse player. So.
And that must continue as you are still involved with that Lead the Way organization?
Yeah, so after 13 years of coaching Division III at 2 different colleges, I decided to slow down a little bit. It's very, as you know, kind of fast-paced lifestyle, very busy, long days, long hours. And I decided, my husband and I decided it was a good time to kind of step back and reevaluate kind of what we're going to do next. And so opportunity for me to work part-time with a club out of Rhode Island, Lead the Way, came up, and I had been doing some work with them as a college coach and running clinics and stuff like that with them, which has been pretty fun. But this part-time position opened, allowing me to work some administrative hours from home and be at home with my 2 little ones, and keep a whistle on my neck. So it almost seemed like the perfect kind of fit that I could do everything I really wanted to do. So I jumped at that opportunity, and it's been a little over a year now. So.
Well, good for you. We love seeing you come back, both for the alumni game and for Seahawk as Seahawk. Do you need that whistle for the 4-year-old and the 3-year-old?
They love to steal my whistles. They love it, and both of my kids have field hockey sticks, I have to say, which makes me pretty proud. So we'll see how that goes, but they love to steal my whistles, but who doesn't?
Well, they'll have to be like Mom and not just have a field hockey stick, but a lacrosse stick as well.
I hope so. Yeah, I hope so.
Well, thank you for
I
joining.
have a couple old ones. They get into they're very athletically minded, which works out. So.
Well, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree then. Congratulations on your growing family, and thank you for joining us on Seahawk Talk. And go Seahawks, both field hockey and lacrosse. But thank you for joining us, Cara.
Yeah, thanks. It was good to see you. Take care.
You too. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. That's Cara Reese, formerly Cara Dunn, class of 2006. I'm Ed Habershaw. We'll be back with women's soccer head coach Jane Walsh after a short break. Hello and welcome back to Seahawk Talk, segment 3 on Wednesday, May 20. I'm Ed Habishaw. We just chatted with Rob McGinnis and followed him with Cara Reese, class of 2006, both field hockey and lacrosse. We're staying in the fall, not skipping back to the spring, and we're going to go to Portsmouth, Rhode Island to talk with our women's soccer head coach, Jane Walsh. Let's bring her in right now. Hello, Coach Walsh. How are you?
Hi, Ed. I'm doing all right. How about you?
Excellent. We had you from the office last week, and now we've got you from back home today.
On my couch.
Weather's good in Portsmouth, Rhode Island?
It's absolutely gorgeous today.
Yeah, it's only going to get better.
Yeah, I know. That's a good thing.
We opened up the segment by breezing through with a camera during warm-up exercises for one of your games at Topa Field. Devin DeFalco got really excited. She wasn't in uniform that day, but she was leading the cheers, and when the camera got close to her, she was saying, "Yeah, baby!"
Awesome. Yeah, Devin's our hype woman. One of our hype women.
One of many.
Yes, yeah.
Well, you had several Seahawks graduate this past Sunday through virtual conferral degree ceremonies. How did you feel about what happened on Sunday, and then we'll even backtrack to Friday with some Seahawks earning awards?
Yes. Sunday I think was probably a bittersweet day for everyone. Our team, kind of tried to get together and do a little something special for our senior class, our graduates, which we kept. We actually kept that private. We just left that with them. Because it was a special thing that we just wanted them to kind of have for themselves. But, we checked in with them throughout the day, and they seemed to be, happy with their experience for the day. And obviously, the conferral ceremony was beautiful. And, I just think that Salve's done everything that they can do to make this a special experience for them. It's never going to be what they were planning for and preparing for. But, I think that just any sort of outreach at this point really goes a long way.
Yeah, the weekend was gorgeous. And there's been a couple of times when I've been traveling around Aquidneck Island, staying in my car most of the time, but passing by Ochre Court, especially the gates, on a couple of occasions I've seen, not only in person, but I've seen on social media, students, seniors gathering there in cap and gowns, which don't resemble the colors that Salve Regina has, the black, because they didn't purchase them this year, but they get photo opportunities in front of the gate. Were yours fortunate to do the same?
I believe I had a few that got to take that iconic, graduation post or picture right in front of the gates to Ochre Court. So I don't know if everybody did, but I know a few did.
Yeah. I'm sure they kept the crowd to a minimum around there. There was one Saturday, I believe 2 weeks ago, where it was just before final exams, and hey, the weather's gorgeous. Get outside, get some fresh air, and breathe in the scene and the setting. Yeah. So we're showing on screen now your 5 seniors. Brianna, Kayla, Emily, Katie, and Jessica.
Yes, it's a solid group of young women there. One of the things that I said to them in my message to them is that I just can't believe, when we start this process, they're seniors in high school, juniors in high school, they're teenagers, and now they're young women ready to go take on the world. And just watching the transformation over the years, and there are some highs and lows, definitely throughout that process. But just kind of watching them on their journey has been really special. And this group in particular, I think, was kind of the in-between group where they've seen a lot of our old culture and have been a really big driving force with a lot of our new culture as well, our more positive culture. And so they were just a key part to our program.
Coach, in your conversations with the senior group, what are some of their employment and or career prospects that they see either in the short term or hopefully in the long term?
A lot of them are kind of up in the air, at this point. I know Jess is going to be completing her master's degree. She kind of did that, I believe, a 5-year program with Salve, so she'll be done, I believe, this time next year. And so she'll be in Newport. And everybody else is still kind of trying to figure it out, has some ideas, of ways they want to go in. And so I think for the time being, they're just going to take some time to kind of breathe, a short period to breathe, and then kind of really take the first step in the next direction.
And when we did the Zoom with the Seahawk chat a week ago on Monday, I know a lot of them were in on Aquidneck Island because the Zambrellos hosted not just themselves as a twin pair, but also some other athletes from other sports. Did they have leases that expired like shortly after graduation, and are they heading back home, or are they here beyond this week?
So I know a few of them, their leases ended actually like right before graduation. I think they kind of ended at funky times just with, everything that's going on right now. As far as staying in the area, I'm not sure of what all of them are going to do. Jess will definitely be here. She's always here. She loves Newport. I know that for sure. But I think everybody else is going to be at home for a little while. I know Katie and Emily have a nice, setup out on the Cape where they like to spend their summers. So I imagine they'll probably be there. But we do actually have a fair number of rising seniors that are going to be here this summer. So you'll probably see a lot of them poking their heads around.
Meaning they've already started leases on apartments?
Yeah, I think so. I think they're getting pretty close to that time, within the next couple of weeks here.
Well, one of your rising sophomores was an award winner this past Friday as we showcased our Seahawk Awards ceremony in a virtual format. Talk about the excitement surrounding your group with Megan McLaughlin earning quite an honor.
Right, so that was really special for us and really special for Megan because every time she's ever received any kind of award, she's like, I really just honestly didn't expect it, Coach. But I think for the program, especially because she won the freshman athlete or class award, for the female side, I think it just speaks to the future that we have with this young group and the potential that we have. Megan herself said, I really couldn't have done it without my teammates. And that's one of the hard things about the sport of soccer is, we have 11 players on the field, but, only one person is scoring goals or a few people are scoring goals, that kind of thing. And so we don't have the same type of stats as other sports do, like, say, softball, basketball, volleyball even, so on and so forth. And so it's really hard to kind of highlight each individual player and what they do. But each player does so much, every single game. And sometimes it's the difference of, just, hustling back, making a great tackle and sending a good pass that starts the transition into attack that allows us to score that goal. So as much as the goal is really exciting and putting it away is what we expect, our goal scorers to do. I also expect my defenders to make good tackles. I expect my midfielders to hustle up back and forth and make good passes and our finishers to finish. So I think just that award in and of itself really spoke to, the future of the program.
And it's nice how you mentioned that Megan, her humility in terms of recognizing her Seahawk teammates for the award. How do you see her making the jump from freshman year to sophomore year? What does she know she has to work on, and what are some of her strengths that she's ready to take it to another level?
Sure. I think for her, I'm just looking for consistency next season. She had a great season with us, this year as far as scoring goals. So obviously that's something that we'll be looking for her to do for next season. But, really for her, I think it's just kind of calming down and being a little bit more comfortable at this level and just kind of getting outside of her own head, which is a common problem for any player, but specifically players who tend to get a lot of light shined on them. So our goalkeepers, obviously, they're in the spotlight a lot. Goal scorers, they're in the spotlight a lot. So I really just want her to calm down, be comfortable, really get, more comfortable with the team and, her role on the team, and just be a good team player next year.
What teammates, new teammates, do you expect to have join Megan in the rest of the Seahawks?
Right, so, we have a ton of returning players, which is very exciting. Again, our freshman class is huge. We've got 11 players coming back, so that's very exciting. Our rising sophomores, rising juniors, they're going to be key players as well. But we've got 4 new recruits that we've added to the roster for next season, which I'm very excited about. I kept it very selective this season, very limited to what we needed. And all of them are going to be great additions. So, we've got people from all over the place that are going to be able to support Megan in her role up top. More players are going to help us in the back as well, and just kind of all over the field. So I'm really excited for it to all come together.
Jumping completely somewhere else, tell me when Coach Walsh first began to play soccer and how you developed a love for this game.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, I was 4 years old. I have an older brother, and he was able to start playing soccer before I did. And we would go to his soccer practices or his games, and I would always say to my mom, "Can I play?" And, she said, "You're not old enough yet." And so, finally, my time came, and I remember very distinctly, we were a yellow team, and we were called the Yellow Jackets. My dad was the coach of the team, and I just have this one distinct memory of scoring a goal, and I guess just the thrill, and the excitement of getting out there and being good at something, and, just kind of really enjoying it, just, made it something that I did all the time, and wanted to do all the time. So, I always say this, soccer is the one thing that I have felt like I've always been comfortable doing. So I've just stuck with it for my entire life.
Were there other sports that you played and
Yes.
let go of?
Yep. So I dabbled in basketball. I wasn't as good at scoring as I was playing defense, but I tried that. I did play some softball as well, which I really enjoyed. And then actually swimming. I was a big swimmer.
Nice.
And that was really, really fun. That's great exercise. So
Absolutely.
I enjoyed that. Yeah, I enjoyed that a lot.
So in playing defense in basketball, did you use your feet a lot?
No, I was physical.
So when you're looking at prospects for the Salve Virginia University women's soccer program, are you engaged by similar stories of people when they started soccer and how they developed their passion for it? And are they similar to your background as well?
Yeah, for the most part, a lot of these young women have been playing for a good portion of their lives, and they have a passion for it. And I think that's number one, especially at the Division III level. You really have to love what you're doing, because there's no other incentive to play. You're not getting a scholarship. Exactly. So you really just have to love what you do and be really passionate about it. And I find that if you are, then and the players that are, I get more out of, so I tend to get 100% out of people, and that's really how you can push them and help them grow and become better players.
Excellent. Well, Coach, thank you for joining us on Seahawk Talk today. The next time we'll talk will be our final time in Seahawk Talk, and it'll be the day after Memorial Day. So I want to wish you a happy 3-day weekend, hopefully.
Thank you. It kind of always feels like a 3-day weekend now, but
yeah.
But thank you. Yes.
All right. Good seeing you, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right. Thanks, Ed.
Take care. That's Jane Walsh, our head coach for women's soccer at Salve Virginia University. We'll join our men's soccer head coach after a short break.
28:15 to go in the first half. McDonald goes short. It's Kelly on the drive off the post. Back in, and he scores.
Welcome back to Seahawk Talk. I'm Ed Habishaw, and we just showcased a nice goal by Casey Kelly, who was one of our many men's soccer award winners from last Friday night, virtual Seahawk Awards ceremony. We're going to head right now to East Providence, Rhode Island to connect with our men's soccer head coach, Craig O'Rourke II. Hello, Coach. That's how I solve that problem. It's my problem. Hello, Coach.
Hi, Ed. How are you?
Very good, thanks. So the audio is accurate. So what I do is I mute the guests so that if I don't hear them and we continue to have a conversation, obviously I can't have that conversation without hearing you. So you are unmuted now, and we are unmuted on the stream. So good seeing you.
Good seeing you, sir.
I saw a lot of you on Friday evening during the virtual awards ceremony, and obviously putting it all together, I did as well. And I was so touched by Evan McDonald's final words of 8 minutes, and his recognition of you, Coach. What a tremendous tribute he gave to all of his teammates, all the people that he was thankful for, and especially you.
Evan is a very mature, very well-spoken young man. He brought that to the table long before he set foot on the field for Salve Regina. I think he has grown and matured during his 4 years at the university, but a lot of what comes through, I think, is a credit to his parents and to his family. I think he is a direct reflection of how close they are as a family unit, both his parents and his brother, and now his sister-in-law and his nephew, who he even spoke about during the awards ceremony. So, I mean, in mentoring him and helping to shape him, I was given a great deal to work with, and I think that was showcased on Friday night in both of his speeches. Jokingly and jibbingly, we tell him that, adding up all the other speeches from that night, his speech was still twice as long as all the other speeches combined.
For sure.
We've been talking about team records over the past week with some of them. I think he might have set a departmental record for longest acceptance speech in the modern era.
Well, let's take the others, too, in order that they were presented. Seth Wallins, your rookie goalkeeper, and he was recognized with the Freshman Male Athlete of the Year.
Yeah, I texted Seth last week to let him know that this annual Seahawk Sports Award was going to be a webcast, knowing that I had nominated him for the award. At the time, I didn't know if he would be receiving it or not, but I knew based upon the criteria that I had put in and the supporting documents and supporting information that I had offered, I thought that he was going to be a very strong candidate for the award, and I was happy to see him get it. He was a first-team all-conference selection. He was Rookie of the Week 1 week. He will be in the top 10 for season records for goals against average. He had just a fantastic freshman debut season, and I'm sorry to say that he's winning the award as no longer being a part of the university, being that he transferred out, and unfortunately decided to be closer to home and is now going to school in North Carolina.
Well, he helped contribute to a Commonwealth Coast Conference championship for the Seahawks, and another big member of that equation was Alessandro Oggiano from the sophomore class.
Yeah, Alessandro has earned his nickname as the Italian Stallion within the program. We just talked about this Monday when I met with my seniors, how essentially his statistics in being the leading goal scorer on the team, and as some people may know, and probably most people don't know, he was the co-leader for conference goals in conference games only. He had just as many goals against conference opponents as the Commonwealth Coast Conference's Offensive Player of the Year, Evan Couchot from Endicott. And Alessandro's body of work was almost essentially on half of a season, being that he was injured for the first 3 games of the year with an ankle injury coming out of preseason, and then had to slowly work his way back into the starting 11. So I think he only had 13 games and 8 starts, or maybe it might be 16 games and 13 starts. The number 13 is definitely in there somewhere, but his entire body of work, the 12 goals that he led our team with, wasn't based upon a full season. And when I nominated him, I became aware of that in reflection as I put it in. But I was very happy to see him earn it, because without his output, without his productivity in the final third, we would not have been positioned to be the number 1 seed and be able to play for the team.
Just lost some audio on you there. Hopefully it comes back. Your screen flickered as well. We can continue into the junior class, and that is to talk about the CCC Defensive Player of the Year, a Scholar All-American second team, and soon to be a 2-year captain for the Seahawks, and he's in charge of your social media, Casey Kelly.
Yeah, if you figure out what Casey Kelly doesn't do, please let me know, because essentially he just does it all for us. What can you say about Superman? He actually got honored recently with yet another award outside of the department. He earned one of the student activity awards that I think our assistant athletic director, Matt Finlayson, nominated him for. And when I was made aware of it, I sent out a team-wide announcement, and the title of the email was simply, "It's a bird, it's a plane, it's ... because his team nickname is Superman. And again, it's a tribute to just about everything that he does for us. When I was nominating him for the CCC Defensive Player of the Year award, I kind of put the moniker on him during our conference call with the head coaches that he, quite frankly, might just be our best overall player in terms of how much he does for us. And I knew when I tabbed him with that, and the fact that we were going to be the number 1 seed in the conference tournament, that he was going to have a very good chance of winning that Defensive Player of the Year award. And it's frankly well-deserved. You look at the course of his career and the body of work that he's put together over his 3 seasons. He essentially playing in a 3 center back system that we tout as a 5-back. He at times, because of how high our wing backs play in possession, can be left on an island, and he's able to hold down that entire width, flank, and channel without our opponents being able to gain any degree of penetration into the space behind him, which essentially alleviates the pressure off of the center back and the goalkeeper. And it really allows our defensive shape to really focus in on the areas not covered by him. And that is just an absolute blessing for every other player in our defensive scheme. And like you said, he's 2-time captain. He's been academic all-conference for as long as I can remember. First-team scholar all-East region, which isn't New England. It's right. Virginia, Maryland on north. So, I mean, you have all of the NESCAC. You have a good deal of the Centennials. You have all these institutions of higher learning in Maryland, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, as well as the entire New England region. And he is one of the 11 of best student athletes playing Division III men's college soccer in that region. And then he goes and wins, a Scholar All-American on top of it, which means he's now one of the 22 best student athletes playing Division III men's college soccer in the country. So it's kind of an affirmation of what, frankly, over the 3 years that he's been with us, his teammates and the coaching staff already knew. And, quite frankly, takes the jersey off, you're going to see the S on his chest. He is Superman.
Or Salve.
Oh, or Salve, red, blue, what color that S is.
And let's get back to your other All-American, his senior teammate, Evan McDonald.
Evan. What can you say about Evan that Evan didn't say during that 8-minute and 6-second speech? EMAC, as we know him, he's rewritten the record book. He broke the school record for assists. He's 5th all-time in points. everything. And I nominated him for CCC Offensive Player of the Year. And I had a very, very compelling argument as to why he should have been CCC Offensive Player of the Year. Statistically, if you looked just at the numbers, goals and assists, Couchot had a more prolific body of work. And again, I got to stress statistically, because he was the one putting the ball in the net. It's 2 points for a goal, only 1 point for an assist. So Evan's majority of his points came from his assists. As in his junior season, he led the country for most of the year in assists, ultimately finishing second in the entire nation. And then this year he picked up right where he left off and led the entire conference again for the second year in a row in assists. But my argument was that you can't just look at Evan's goals and assists and think that that is his true offensive output. You have to look at what our team did offensively, because whether it was Ventura or Alessandro, Winarski or Guerra or Sundell scoring the goal, at some point along the line, the ball flowed through Evan McDonald. Everything that we did as we gained the attacking half and played through the midfield third into the attacking third, the strings were pulled by Emac. Everything we did. I mean, you can see him in watching video analysis on us that he would drop into the defensive third just to get his first touch on the ball and start orchestrating where our mode of penetration would come from. So in terms of running the offense on what was the most prolific offensive team in the conference, we had 60 goals. Nobody was within 10. Nobody was within 15 goals of us. Evan was the best offensive player on the best offensive team. And that was the basis of why I tried to convince the rest of the conference that he should have been the conference's offensive player of the year. And to do justice, absolutely nothing to take away from Evan Couchot, an absolutely prolific striker and well-deserving of the award. I just thought, in terms of total output of the team's offense, I couldn't, in good mindset or good conscience, not put Evan right there side by side. And as he'll be the first to mention, the two best players in the conference are both named Evan. And somehow he takes credit for that in the fact that Evan Couchot from Endicott wins it. And luckily for him, he shares the name of Evan. As a matter of fact, he was very critical of my recruiting class in that I wasn't bringing an Evan in. This past year, when the freshmen showed up, there was no Evan, and he was like, whoa, time out. We have to have 4 Evans on the roster.
Got to have an Evan.
Luckily, the incoming freshman class, we have Evan Arpin, who's committed and deposited and coming to us. So we'll try to start reloading on the Evans to do his name justice. But, Emac, it wasn't a surprise, although I did my best to make it a surprise when he was named second-team All-American. I think he had a very good knowledge and understanding that there was a chance he had at the All-American Award. And leading up to the announcement by the United Soccer coaches, he was stopping in my office every so often asking, have you heard yet? And the morning that he ultimately found out that he was named All-American, he came into my office that day. We had a team meeting later that night. And before he even got a chance to ask, I just immediately blurted out, Evan Couchot got third-team All-American, which was a truthful statement and one that he took as a statement of
end of story.
Yeah,
end of story.
And that wasn't the case, and it wasn't until the team meeting later that night that I started talking about. It's nice that the Commonwealth Coast Conference got an All-American. It's not guaranteed every year. Evan Couchot's a very good player. I mean, and let's look at it.
You are
Evan
terrible.
Couchot got third-team All-American. What would it have taken for him to maybe get second-team or first-team All-American? Well, he would have had to play on a better offensive system. He would have had to play on a more possession-based team. He would have had to have been more comfortable with the ball across all 3/3 of the field. He would have had to pull the strings and not just be the guy finishing. And I'm sitting there saying all these things, and my players are looking at me like I have 3 heads, because they're like, Coach, why are you talking about Hackett? And what I was building up to was maybe if Evan Couchot was a little bit more like Evan McDonald, maybe then he would have been named second-team All-American. And he confessed to me later that night that, yeah, you got me. You totally got me, Coach, which is what I was trying to do all day long. You know, just blurting out as soon as he walked in the office, hey, Cruchot got 13. Which, again, truthful statement, hand be to God. I didn't say McDonald didn't get anything. I just didn't allude to it until I had an audience and the team meeting for everyone to be there so they could celebrate with him.
Well, a great presentation, Coach. And as much as Wallens, Ogiano, Kelly, and McDonald deserve their awards from the athletic department, you so deserve two-time Commonwealth Coast Conference Coach of the Year recognition. You're joining your seniors on the field right now on screen during your team photo day session at Topa Field. Talk about that final moment for them. They graduated, they earned their degrees on Sunday and were conferred virtually through the ceremony on YouTube.
It's the culmination of the career. You know, I tell them after the fall season's over, you know, while their 4 years of eligibility may be used up, their college career hasn't ended, and they still have to deliver in the classroom, finish earning the credits, and, you know, ultimately get their degree. I've always said that my greatest goal as a head coach is not to win every game on my schedule. That I've always referred to that as 1A, but 1 is for the young men who come and play for me to earn their credits, get their degrees, and go out and become productive members of society. That and that alone is the greatest calling card for the program, is the young men that play for me and go out and become my alumni. And it's a hallmark of the alumni. They no longer have to call me coach. They can finally, after 4 years getting their degree, be allowed to call me Craig, which is something I don't allow during their playing time for me. Most of them are unable to do it simply because of habituation. They don't know me as anything other than coach. But for the three of them and my graduate student Evan Lasky, you know, they saw the program, frankly, at its lowest point. 4 years ago, we were 4-12-1. We found a way to finish dead last out of 10 teams in the conference. We were 10th. It was without a doubt a low point for me professionally. As much as they say the wins and losses are not what we're judged by, I think any head coach recognizes that the win and loss is still a numeric that we will judge ourselves by. It is simply a moniker as to whether or not your team was able to produce success on game day. So for them to be at that point, you know, finishing dead last their freshman year, and then over the course of a 4-year career to change a program's culture, to build a winning philosophy, to recruiting the next class and bringing in the talent, because, you know, another one of my sayings is that recruiting is the lifeblood of any successful college program. You can't produce a winning team unless you bring talent into that team. And these guys were right at the center of that. I thought EMAC was extremely well-spoken and proper in thanking, you know, Noah Medeiros and everything that he has given to the program as a 2-time captain in helping to ensure that the guys not only are recruited into the program, but then develop the work ethic in order to be the best versions of themselves, the best student athletes, the work ethic in the classroom, as well as the work ethic in the gym outside of the playing season. You know, I always say champions aren't made in August. It starts in January. You've got to have that 6 months of dedicated work to make yourself the best athlete, such that when you get to preseason and start playing the sport you love, we can start refining your athletic ability into better soccer ability. A strength and conditioning coach that we once had on staff, Tom Newman, I said it brilliantly. If you're driving in the Indianapolis 500, do you want to be driving a beat-up Chevy or do you want to be driving a Ferrari? And, you know, strength and conditioning department will help you to become that Ferrari, but if you don't do what they tell you to do and don't follow the regimen that they lay out, because they're not going to lift for you, you're going to beat that beat-up Chevy, and, you know, good luck finishing the finish line or crossing the finish line in any time that's reputable. So, but for those guys, you know, their 4 years, I don't think you could have written it better. To go from 4-12-1 dead last to 2-time regular season champs, their senior year winning the conference tournament, earning the trip to the NCAAs, and then, as we've talked about previously, they didn't lose their last game. They failed to advance on penalties, but I tell you, Rowan finished top 15 in the country, and they gave Rowan everything that they could have handled. And there's a screenshot of the film. Within the dying seconds of the first half, we had the ball on our foot at the back bar, and it was a matter of inches, which is, as we always say, you know, sports can sometimes, whether it be football, baseball, or soccer, can sometimes come down to a matter of inches. And had we scored that goal in that matter of inches in those dying moments, you know, we could have been living to play another day and maybe made it to the second round.
Well, you've broken Evan's record.
Oh, am I longer than 8 minutes? I was thinking now, I'm like, you know, Evan McDonald's being really long-winded. I wonder where he gets that from. It's hard to be so long-winded. Yeah, I've never been accused of not having anything to say.
And to not go off topic, but you and I can let Tom Newman know that we're driving well-tuned Priuses.
Yeah. So yeah, we won't have to stop for gas.
That'll be around the racetrack. Yeah, we won't have to make
going.
less frequent pit stops. And I'd like to also echo Evan McDonald in thanking you, your family, Kate, Kieran, and Addison, and of course, the real Craig O'Rourke, your dad.
Elizabeth Tiernan and Addison.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah,
Elizabeth
right.
Tiernan and Addison. Sorry, Elizabeth.
Yes. She's listening. I'll hear about that later. Thanks, Ed. Appreciate that.
Well, I appreciate your time during this segment. I know what you're going through, and I'll leave it at that. I wish you the best. My prayers are with you and your family, and best wishes.
Thanks, Ed. Appreciate it. Take care.
Take care. That's Craig O'Rourke II, his wife, beautiful wife, Elizabeth, Tiernan and Addison. They're still within earshot. Have a wonderful day, and we'll talk to you next week. I'm Ed Habashar. Take care.